It's been 2 months since this board made the decision that the best way to educate children is by the removal of books, particularly those in which the board disagrees with the content. Court rulings on every level, including the Supreme Court, have found your actions unconstitutional. Island Trees Union Free School District versus Pico 1982, whose ruling on middle school and high school libraries is likely what you tried to hide behind. But ACLU versus Miami-Dade found that this is unconstitutional for elementary school libraries as well. The conclusion that this board banned Cats versus Robots based on an objection to its content, which is a violation of the First Amendment of every other student whose parents did not complain, is based on the repeated failure of this district to recognize the challenges of its students, especially the LGBTQI+ community. The refusal to respect preferred names, pronouns of students of any age, manipulating student groups, making teachers feel afraid of showing their support for these students, and finally the decision to remove this book based on pronouns. In regards to age appropriateness, I retort to you that your own pre-K curriculum goals include the use of pronouns for children as young as 3 years old. In a joint statement from the Department of Justice and the Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, issuing guidance for schools to address anti-LGBTQ+ harassment in schools, uses the following descriptions as one of the forms of harassment that it investigates. An elementary school student with intersex traits dresses in a gender-neutral way, identifies as non-binary, and uses they/them pronouns. Stop and think about that. The suggestion to curb violence against this community is the exact reason you used to justify banning it. And the asinine assertion that your choices were between banning this book or teaching kindergartners how to use condoms is such an absurd, false dichotomy that brings into question your ability to make logical decisions for this district. If this weren't bad enough, you also violated Title IX. As stated specifically in Bostock versus Clayton County 2020, it is impossible to discriminate against a person because of their sexual orientation or gender identity without discriminating against that individual based on sex. You've now been made aware of what you should have already known, and per your own policy, I expect a prompt reversal of your action, as not doing so now does open you up to being liable for damages. In your ignorant statement, attempting to justify your decision, you could not take 5 minutes to look up the definitions of what you were banning or deeming inappropriate. That's lazy and shameful. It also exemplifies the gross homogeneity of our board and the problems it creates, like picking out committees that also lack any diversity. Some things are challenging, but this is not. All you have to do is take the time and make the effort to educate yourself, which is a ridiculous thing to have to say to the Board of Education. To help you in the future, I put together some definitions to write down. Biological sex, male, female, typically assigned at birth based on physical characteristics. Gender identity, each person's internal and individual experience of gender, a sense of being, a woman, a man, both, neither, or anywhere else on the gender spectrum. Gender expression, how a person publicly expresses their gender, includes behavior, appearance, names, and pronouns. Gender presentation, how others see an individual and interpret their gender expression. As a board, you failed to show due diligence, insight, and basic cultural competency in what amounts to be an embarrassing and ignorant decision. If you don't even know the meaning of the words that you are using to make decisions, how can we have any confidence in your ability to lead this district? I leave you with a quote from yet another case regarding library materials, this time brought about by a concerned third party, Montiero versus Temple Union High. The ruling included this statement that the board should take to heart. It cannot be disputed that a necessary component of any education is learning to think critically about offensive ideas. Thank you.